Rox D Xebec came out of nowhere. When it comes to him in the story, let's be honest here. Like, for at least 900 chapters, we didn't even have a reference to him. And less than 50 chapters ago, that's when he was actually given a full name. Yes, Rox D Xebec. And honestly, there's so many old legends that have been mentioned in these like 1,000 chapters early on in the story. Of course, we have Gold D Roger, the Pirate King. We have the Navy hero Monkey D Garp, which is his greatness, of course, was known because of Rox. We also have Whitebeard, the world's strongest man, and his whole Marineford situation early on. Sengoku was also a main faction in that Marineford arc as the fleet admiral. Shiki, he had a whole movie and a whole side chapter, Chapter 0, such an amazing chapter, and it's actually canon, so the gold line definitely gets a lot of hype. Big Mom, definitely the four emperors being mentioned by Garp. Her reference was pretty early on. And of course, Silver's Rayleigh, of course, when it comes to Sabo Odi, the vice captain to the Pirate King. So you can even add Suru for all I care, but let's keep it real. Maybe like the latest one you talk about is Kong. Like Kong was revealed like right after Marineford, him being the fleet admiral from the old generation, and now he's like even like at a higher rank. But come on, Rox D Xebec, he is probably of all the old legends, he is the one that was barely mentioned for a long time. And the fact that he's suddenly mentioned, I don't think Ichiro Oda, the man who made One Piece, the genius, would just mention him for a flashback if you're gonna take this long to mention him at all. I think there must be some plot related events with Rox D Xebec in the current timeline. Yes, you heard me. Kozuki Oden was definitely a character that was built up for the Wano arc, but that was for a flashback, and you can obviously tell. Nolan is another character who was also built up a little bit, and he got his flashback in Skypiea. But this is different. Rox is a villain. You don't like Nolan and Oden were good characters. They were not villains. They were protagonist kind of characters. But Rox is definitely an antagonist, and I feel like he's gonna shake the world. Yes, you heard me, shake the world. The fact that he was leading 3 emperors, this guy's gonna do some things that is not gonna make sense when it comes to his powers and ability. I'm so excited to see. But I'm not excited to see that a lot of guys are watching my videos and are forgetting to subscribe to the channel. So make sure you guys don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Of course, try to get this video to 500 likes. And don't forget to turn on notifications because I got a huge video coming out tomorrow. Yes, I got a big video, so please turn on notifications because I don't want you guys to miss that greatness. Let's be honest here. The Reverie, Chapter 907, was the big break for Rox. This was his moment, and the Reverie has so many splendid moments, but I definitely feel like Chapter 907 was really the moment when it comes to Rox. It gives me chills still thinking about Kaido and Big Mom talking without no fear. They had no fear for anybody hearing their conversation, and Kaido's like, yo, Big Mom, don't make me like kill you, and Big Mom's like, I'm gonna pull up. Let's get along like the old days of them being under Rox D Xebec. You also have to talk about the whole situation of Garp and his dialogue in this chapter with Hina. And Hina talks about Rox and how Garp became a hero because of this. And also talks about how like Garp, like back in the days, Rox like tell us more. And Garp is grinning, like he's grinning the fact that Big Mom and Kaido are coming together, and he's grinning about the Rox. Like definitely Garp has had a fun time fighting Rox in my personal opinion, just from this dialogue with Hina. The fact that he was smiling definitely was a spooky moment by Monkey D Garp. And of course, at the end of the chapter, we have Red Hair Shanks talking to the Gorosei. Like that is just him talking to the Gorosei was a big deal. But to talk about a certain pirate, and the most hype pirate in the chapter was Rox. Man, oh man, what can I say, guys? Chapter 907 was definitely the chapter of Rox. And a lot of people don't know this, but one of the Straw Hat Pirates might actually know who Rox was, because that's Brook. Brook was alive back in the days, and the fact that Brook made a comment on Goldie Roger being a rookie, like, oh, I remember a rookie by the name of Roger, definitely makes me think that Brook might know who Rox was, because Rox was a legend over 40 years ago. So I definitely feel like Brook might talk about Rox in a sense, and that would be hype, because he did talk about Germa, I believe so. I would be extremely hyped if Brook actually knew who Rox was. We all know the whole Caracas relationship with Brook, when Brook left the lagoon with Crocus. Crocus was a Pirate King member for that little time where he had to take care of Goldie Roger. And you gotta don't forget that Big Mom moment where like Brook is talking to Big Mom like she's younger than him, and she is younger than him, but he's talking to a Yonko, a legendary old Yonko, like she's like a young girl. He's like young lady. That's why I feel like it would be epic if Brook actually knew Big Mom's captain Rox from back in the days. That would definitely make Brook have another hype moment. If he sees Rox and like, oh, Rox, I remember you. You were like a scrub back in the days. That would be hilarious comedy, and I would love it. Now, I'll be honest here, in the 4 years I've been making One Piece content on this channel, I rarely talk about video games. I never talk about video games when it comes to One Piece, but video games definitely are a very interesting aspect. Like, I remember Shanks was fighting in a Pirate Warriors game, but he never showed his abilities, and he was doing some things that were, let's be honest here, I think it was time manipulation. It definitely raised some eyebrows. The reason why I'm bringing video games, because I believe, I'm not too sure if it was Pirate Warriors 2 or 3, but I was playing a video game, and I remember Moria and Blackbeard teamed up in that video game. Now, you guys all know during the Wano arc and that intermission between Act 1 and Act 2, Blackbeard and Moria had a whole chapter of pretty much Blackbeard saying, come on my ship and let's work together. And Moria, like, he pulled up on Blackbeard and Yonko with no fear. Moria, yes, he's a laughing stock sometimes, but you gotta understand, he's still a former warlord. He's not like a chump. He still has power. Like, Shooty the Ring hit him with a slash and he still didn't get one shot. Moria is not no punk when it comes to his abilities. Back in the days, he actually faced Kaido, so definitely want to say that's super important in my personal opinion. And we cannot forget Moria and his favorite zombie, Oz. Yes, Oz was Moria's favorite zombie, and Oz had an eerily looking similar to Kaido without horns, and definitely Oz was, of course, the continent shifter. Like, he was dragging continents. Oz was extremely powerful, and we saw the whole situation of Nightmare Luffy to counter Oz in the Thriller Bark arc. So what I'm trying to say is this: in Marineford, we saw them trying to get Oz Jr. He obviously failed. Doflamingo cut off his leg, and he was pissed off about that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Moria, and because the fact that he was able to get Oz and make him an extremely powerful zombie, and Luffy had to go Nightmare Luffy, post timescale, I wouldn't be surprised if Moria brings another zombie to a next level. I think Moria and his zombies are going to have a huge part when it comes to interacting with Luffy and maybe even Kaido. Look at the island that Moria pulls up to. It's called the Pirate Island Beehive. This is where the rocks were formed. Blackbeard's base is where the rocks is formed. So Blackbeard definitely knows about Rocks D Xebec. He knows about that situation. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he had a conversation with Whitebeard back in the day. I'm not too sure. Whitebeard probably talked to him because, you understand, Whitebeard said to Roger, I have a guy with a D in my name, in his name on my crew. It's Marshall D. Teach. Whitebeard was captain, was Rocks D Xebec. I wouldn't be surprised if Whitebeard had a question to Marshall D. Teach about Rocks D Xebec. Like, hey, you know a guy named Rocks D Xebec? You guys have the same initial. It kind of reminds me how Nico Robin's like, what's up with you guys in the D to Luffy because Jaguar D Saw. So I definitely feel like Rocks, Teach, and Whitebeard might have been that pretty much that factor in Teach knowing about Rocks. I'm not too sure 100%, but I definitely feel like with the fact that the Pirate Island Beehive was formed, where the Rocks and now Blackbeard's base is that, it's definitely interesting. And we cannot forget, Moria had another impressive zombie. That was Ryuma. Ryuma, the legendary Wano samurai who had the Shisui sword, and of course caught a dragon back in the day. There's actually a chapter about that. It's called, I think it's a epilogue or something. I'm not too sure. Prelogue. I don't know the word term for it is, but it's before the One Piece story. And I want to say Ryuma cut a dragon in that chapter, and it was pretty cool. But I do want to say this. The fact that Brook's shadow was in Ryuma's body definitely made Ryuma weaker, and Zoro knew that, and Zoro was like, I want to fight you. Let's not call this battle because you weren't at full strength in a sense. I feel like, what if there was a situation where you have a monster zombie like Ryuma and a monster shadow combined? That's what happened with Oz. Oz had Luffy's shadow, and I believe he had, of course, Oz's body. So that's what made him a monster of character. So pre-timeskip Zoro was on the same level as Ryuma with Brook's shadow. Imagine what a Ryuma body with a decent shadow. Like, Brook is decent, but a more competent swordsman shadow. Like, damn, that would definitely be scary hours for sure. Now, a lot of people don't like to mention this, but I feel like it's definitely important. Like, it was even mentioned in the flashback of Kozuki Oden. Gecko Moria lost his whole crew to Kaido, and that changed his whole aspect. And he pretty much gave Luffy a warning of going to the new world. So Gecko Moria definitely he hates Kaido. Like, he has a despise for Kaido. And this is a public thing. People know Gecko Moria went up against Kaido back in the days. This is actually public. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a whole situation of him getting the ultimate revenge on Kaido. In my personal opinion, the ultimate revenge on Kaido is not killing him. The ultimate revenge on Kaido is stealing his shadow. Having the strongest creature alive shadow, and having ultimate control over Kaido, that Kaido can't even go through the sunlight, that would definitely make Moria get his ultimate revenge. And let's be honest here, it's well deserved. Kaido killed his whole crew, but that's what happens in war. When you put yourself up in that battle, he knew that he had the risk of losing his crew if he lost that battle. And this is where Blackbeard comes to play. The fact that Blackbeard is based on Pirate Island Beehive, what I'm trying to say is this: if Blackbeard somehow gets the body of Rocks D Xebec, if he gets the body of Rocks D Xebec, while also getting, like, that's the formidable weapon. If he gets also the shadow of Kaido, Luffy will have to stop a Rocks D Xebec with the shadow of Kaido. Like, everyone says, oh, there's gonna be a whole situation of Blackbeard, how do I say this, Blackbeard taking Kaido's fruit ability and all that. If Blackbeard takes Kaido's shadow by the means of Moria, because Moria being a Blackbeard pirate, oh man, and I feel like this will be a big deal, because Blackbeard and Rocks together would definitely shake the One Piece community, in my personal opinion. X-Drake will obviously notify Kobe, and we could get a situation of Garp, Roger versus Rocks, and the new generation of it with Luffy and Kobe versus Rocks. That would be hype, having Luffy and Kobe fight this Rocks who now has the shadow of Kaido and like is the strong body of Rocks D Xebec. Woo! Now, of course, I think the icing on the cake is, if you guys remember when Big Mom said, Kaido, you owe me a lifelong debt. And that was because when Rocks fell, Big Mom gave Kaido that Devil Fruit ability, the fish fruit that turns to the dragon. But you gotta understand, Big Mom says when Rocks fell, this could be a situation where Rocks dying and his fruit was revived near Big Mom, and Big Mom was able to obtain Rocks' Devil Fruit ability, and maybe Kaido's Devil Fruit ability was actually originally belonging to Rocks. Maybe Rocks even has a better mastery of this fruit ability. I think Kaido mastered the fruit ability, but I think maybe Rocks even have another level to this fruit ability. And Blackbeard, he pulls up to Wano. People are always saying Blackbeard's gonna pull up to Wano and steal Kaido's Devil Fruit for himself. What if he steals Kaido's Devil Fruit not for himself, but for this ultimate shadow of Rocks D Xebec, giving him his former Devil Fruit back, having his Devil Fruit ability back, having Kaido's shadow, and having his body? Man, oh man, this would be Blackbeard's ultimate soldier. Like, honestly, having Rocks fight for him on a solo mission to pretty much stop Luffy or stop anybody who comes in his way. Whoo, this is gonna go crazy. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is the last three movies. The last three movies were all legends, old legends at that. We had Shiki, of course. Shiki's a canon character in Chapter 0, but he also had a movie in which he fought Luffy. And he was doing amazing things in that movie, but of course, his power scaling was down because of the pre-time skip Luffy he lost to. So, definitely not canon, but you still have to respect a old legend coming back. Then we have Zephyr, of course, that marine legend who taught so many of the old generation, like of vice admirals and admirals. You have to respect Zephyr, and he definitely had an epic hockey battle with Luffy. And then Bullet, the Roger pirate. This guy had everyone going at him. He kind of has similar power to Kid right now in the Wano story. But what I'm trying to say is this: Oda in movies has been doing old legends. Maybe he's building this up for the lurking legend to actually have a canon, a manga appearance, a anime appearance, and that's Rocks D Xebec. That would make waves in the One Piece story. And I think, honestly, after Kaido, we need something incredible, and I think this would be extremely incredible and give us a cushion in between the final war of Blackbeard, Akainu, Imu, Gorosei. Having a Rocks zombie soldier fight Luffy and maybe Kobe, that's what we need, in my personal opinion, for a epic after Kaido post Wano stuff. Like, either you have that or you have Luffy soloing an Admiral Green Bull. Like, I don't know which way you can go. The Reverie, Sabo, Luffy's gonna find out about that. But this is definitely a good alternative. Having Luffy fight a zombie Rocks. Yeah, that's how I see it coming to fruition. But I want to hear all you guys' comments. When I hear your comments or read you guys' comments, I love reading you guys' comments and the support you guys been giving me. It has been amazing. Like I said, let's try to get this video to 500 likes. That will be definitely a very solid goal. Like and share if you enjoy. Like and share only if you enjoy. Subscribe for more One Piece content. I'm the Legend Mac, and I'm gone.